San Francisco 49ers quarterback continues to take the league by storm with his 4-touchdown performance against the Arizona Cardinals. Obviously, he is up there in regards to being the MVP favorite, and the San Francisco 49ers are just humming on all cylinders, specifically the offense. I'm not sure I have ever seen the 49ers offense look this good in my lifetime. I'm just not sure I have. And a lot of that has to do with 49ers quarterback Brock Purdy and how he's executing and operating this offense and getting the ball to his playmakers. Now, we understand a huge point of emphasis this past week was calling, Brock Purdy a game manager. He's just along for the ride, right? We know who we're talking about. But I do find it interesting that we've got two opinions from two former NFL quarterbacks who did it at some of the highest levels possible. Boomer Esiason and Phil Simms. These guys played in the NFL for a long time at the quarterback position and were some of the best in their era. And they give their take on 49ers quarterback Brock Purdy and this notion, is he a game manager? What is he doing? And it's very interesting insight considering some of the teams and the people that they reference in comparison. I'm going to play it for you. Take a listen to what they have to say, and then let's react to it on the other side.
You know what, JB? It's game manager, and that's what really ticks us off. It's really kind of a backhanded compliment. It's a little bit of an insult talking about Brock Purdy and what he's done. Now, none of this surprises me because I saw this back in the late 80s and the early 90s. It was Bill Walsh. It was Joe Montana. They had Jerry Rice. They had John Taylor. They had Roger Craig. They had Tom Rathman. They had Brent Jones. And this 49er team, Phil, looks exactly like that 49er team.
Well, you said it's a backhanded compliment, but also it's saying, hey, the team's really good, but you're just not that good. You're along for the ride. And listen, I got to tell you the truth. I kind of felt that way early when Brock Purdy was out there putting up these numbers, winning. But look, we got enough evidence. It's more than just him riding along with the team. He's created situations. And you talk about game managers. Let me say this real quick. Here you are as a quarterback. It's first quarter, 0-0. The guy's running across the field, wide receiver. It's tight coverage, but you rip it in there. Then we come to the fourth quarter. You're leading by 10 points. Yeah. Our defense is playing well. Same play comes up. He's open, we think, but we've got to make a great throw. We don't because we know we're trying to shorten the game, not make a mistake, and manage the game for the coach, for the team, and do the right thing.
You know what? He's right there in the MVP race. I don't care what anybody says. That's how good this young man is.
I love that Boomer is referencing Joe Montana, Bill Walsh. He's saying, like, I've seen this before. Obviously, these guys have been in this league for a long time, whether playing or covering it. And they also play quarterback at an extremely high level. And I love the contextual reference of them saying that we've heard these same storylines before, but we heard it with this guy, Joe Montana, who was considered to be the best quarterback of all time until Tom Brady came along. But that is really cool kind of contextual reference. Is it not? Like, to be able to hear all these things, to what we're seeing, how we're trying to kind of quantify it. And then you have some guys who lived through that era be able to add some context to it, to be like, yeah, man, they were saying the same thing about Joe Montana. And, this isn't like we are saying Brock is Joe Montana. And I just want to clarify that. The point being is that Joe Montana over here went through something very similar. Obviously, Joe Montana wasn't the most physically imposing quarterback. When Joe Montana was getting his number retired at Candlestick, he talked about thanking Bill Walsh for taking a chance on a skinny-legged kid out of Notre Dame. He didn't have the physical attributes that you would consider that would make up an elite quarterback, right? But we would consider Joe Montana elite, wouldn't we? So again, I love the context, and I kind of love what Phil Simms was saying, how he was like, I was kind of calling him a game manager too. I was kind of calling him that guy that was just along for the ride, but there's enough evidence now that we can't even dispute that he is clearly putting this team in a great spot to win. And I also love the fact that both of them talk about how game manager, that term, is a term that has a negative connotation when it comes to quarterback. That's why it's like when we were discussing it all last week and Cam came out and said, "Oh, wasn't saying it in a negative way." BS, like that term in its essence, when used, is just used with it has a negative connotation. That's just how it works. We've obviously went back and forth about that whole situation, and I don't want this video to be about that, but I do think that's what they were referencing when they were talking about that, indirectly. And I think the best part about this entire video that you heard from these guys talking about 49ers quarterback Brock Purdy, this was before the game. This was before he threw for 4 touchdowns. This was before he just did what he did to Arizona. They said this all before this game. So imagine what they were thinking after the game, after he put out that performance that he just did, getting banged up, having to leave, having to come back, and continuing to just throw dimes and darts all over the field. So I think this is a cool situation for Brock. I think Brock is handling everything extremely well, better than I ever could have imagined. Just his cool, calm demeanor and how he's able to deal with everyone talking about him, deal with all the pressure, deal with the MVP stuff, and just keep his head down, eyes forward, and just keeps moving along. It's really impressive what Brock Purdy is doing, and to be able to hear some quarterbacks, some NFL legends, Boomer Esiason and Phil Simms, just kind of give their 2 cents on it. And again, this was before the game. This was before Brock went out and threw for 4 touchdowns. So I think, again, he's getting the respect of a lot of people in this league, including former greats, whether it's NFL analysts, whether it's fans, whether it's other players on other teams. It doesn't matter. Brock is either going to earn your respect or he's going to take it, and there's no in between. He's just that guy. And I think the sooner that you allow him to just earn your respect, I think the more better off you're going to be. And then you're going to see the rigid people on the other hand, where he's going to have to take your respect, and it's not going to end so well for them because everyone else can see, and it's just those select few that are having a really hard time just crossing over and admitting, hey, maybe I was wrong. But that's the way it goes. Let me know what you guys think of these 2 former NFL quarterbacks talking about Brock Purdy and the way that they kind of quantify and think of him and their references to Joe Montana, Bill Walsh, all those guys. Let me know what you guys have to think in the comments below. And as always, make sure to like and subscribe for more updates.